Nights are lonely, days are so sad. I miss you, and nobody knows it but me. All right, Zatima fans, we're here to talk Season 2, Episode 14, Redemption. Man, let me tell you something. When I tell you like Zach, the way Zach sound, that you know me singing that was me up there singing that. That was me up there singing that. Man, oh man, dude sang his heart out. I just think back to last week. Angel was telling Fatima, was like, Fatima, girl, he just seemed so sad. I felt sorry for him. Now this man got in front of the whole club to sing a song, and based off the ending, it worked. Now, will it stick? I don't know. But yeah, that man, he went up on stage. But that's at the end of the episode, okay? Let's get back to the order of things. So, all right, this episode, Redemption, 10 out of 10. So we got 2 10 out of 10s this week, like it should have been last week, because people chewed me out for giving episode 11 a 9.5 out of 10, yada, yada, yada. But, oh yeah, plus I gave episode 12. Didn't I get that one a 9? Well, they were both bangers, okay? Sheesh, just because a score isn't a 10 doesn't mean it's bad. If it's a 9, 9.5, be happy. All right. So before moving forward in the review, please take a moment to hit the thumbs up button to show you like the video. Hit subscribe. Follow me on social media. And yeah, let's jump into it. So Angela calls Fatima moments after Zach has already left her house, basically to check up on her and Paul to see how they're doing. It looks like they're at a restaurant or bar area having dinner, and they're about to go to the open mic night club. So from there, she pretty much says, you know, hey, Zach, just let me know that he loves you and he's not giving up. And Fatima figures this. And from there, you know, they get off the phone. From Angela calls Bryce, you know, to kind of say, hey, what are you doing? I'm just pulling into the, you know, pulling up to my house. And it's like, hey, you want to go out to like an open mic night? And he's like, wait, I mean, you say you want to talk, but I don't think we can talk in an open mic night setting. It'll be too noisy. But, you know, it's kind of a weird flip-flopping between the two. I guess Angela is trying to, I guess, fix the situation, but the way she's kind of stringing Bryce along, but that gets addressed later on in the episode. Now, we go over to Paul coming back to the table. You know, they kind of chat for a bit in regards to like, oh, I noticed all these women in here looking at you. And then he talks about, you know, a little bit of his dating experience in Atlanta. You know, like as soon as women hear I'm a contractor, they're like, oh, wait, who do you work for? But remember, Paul runs his own company, which if I'm not mistaken, he inherited from his, you know, father. So it's a family business. And, you know, he talks about how, you know, I ain't trying to be nobody's sugar daddy or anything like that. But, you know, before they actually leave to go to the open mic night, he takes a moment to tell Fatima how beautiful she is. And it's like, you know what, whenever you're feeling it and, you know, just allow me a chance to show you everything I can do, AKA banging it. So Bryce arrives over at Angela's place. And what it boils down to is she can tell Zach is in a vulnerable, messy place right now. And despite, you know, what's been going on between him and Bryce when Bryce, you know, violated his trust and whatnot, she's aware that Bryce is one of the few good people in his life and someone who's like a confidant who he can talk to, because before Bryce did what he did, yeah, Bryce was definitely Jake 2.0, somebody that would listen to Zach, give him good advice and whatnot. You know, he's happy to hear that, you know, Zach is going to therapy and whatnot. And Angela all of a sudden just, you know, says, well, maybe you thought about going to therapy too. Wait, for swinging? It's not like that. I mean, yes, I was with a girl at the time. She introduced me to some of her friends. They were into swinging, and then eventually I got into it too. So it's not like I need therapy about it. It's like, hey, that's what it is. It's not like I'm in the, you know, closet or anything like that. And when it comes to Angela, yeah, she's had, you know, like threesomes before, but it wasn't like her enjoying, and she enjoyed it, but it wasn't for the other women, but it's for the men that were involved as well. So, from there, Bryce calls her out for missing him. And it's like, well, maybe I kind of miss you, but yeah, it's just one of those things where it's like, so you're on the fence, Angela. What side are you going to fall on? You know, are you going to just move on completely? or are you going to, try to work things out with Bryce? Part of me thinks that maybe she mentioned a therapy session in order to, have Bryce figure himself out that way. That, and I hate to look, this is how I interpreted what she was saying. This isn't to offend anyone. I think perhaps Angela was suggesting Bryce go to therapy to kind of fix his questionable sexuality quirks in order for him to be the kind of man she wants to date. Basically, she wants the Bryce that she thought she had prior to discovering his kinks. That's where I think that she was going with that. I could be wrong, but that's the way I interpreted the scene. But, from there, Zach goes over to the old neighborhood to see Connie and asks, to go for a ride with him. And it's like, look, I just need a friend right now. So we go over to the club, which is where basically the back half of the episode takes place, aside from the last two scenes. So Fatima's there with Paul, they're having a good time, and, she is complimented for her voice, which she mentions a little real life trivia here that, Paul's like, so why didn't you pursue a music career? It's like, yeah, well, I wanted to, but, life happened. Plus the music industry is just so, it's just a beast in itself. And he's like, oh yeah, I know that's right. So, I don't really know for certain if, Crystal had that same perspective, because I do know, she had, songs out and whatnot, but I don't know if she opted to just focus on other things in her career as opposed to music due to the music industry, being so complicated and whatnot. But if it is, great. I love how that's interwoven into the script because of the actress's real career choices. But regardless, I think it's pretty cool. So Belinda comes up and she basically brushes her off. Belinda's still, singing the same old song. That's my girl. I messed up. And, I just wish we can be friends again. And, her and Paul, Fatima and Paul basically don't want to hear it. But from there, Belinda takes him on like, hey, far be it from me to be the one to ruin your night, but I think he's going to ruin your night. And she points out to Zach, who is staring from across the room, just dead at the table. Fatima's like, oh no. So when Zach gets up and approaches the table, look, the moment he got up, I was waiting to see if he was going to be dragging a stuffed dog right behind him. He like, stuffed dog. I mentioned this in episode 13 review. Look at what Zach is wearing, an all black get up and a gold chain. Tell me that's not Martin from when he did that spoof of New Jack City when he was interrogating his friends for his CD player. Down, boy. I was expecting him to do that at the table when he just sits down, because he basically like, grabs a seat or something. He just basically goes in on Fatima's like, does he make you laugh the way I do? Does he make you feel the way I do? And then Paul, I will admit, Paul was just, composed during the entire thing. I guess that's because he's confident in himself and what he brings to the table, that even if Zach, comes over, running his mouth like this, it won't really faze Fatima. But basically he goes down a laundry list of things, and Fatima, is like, well, yeah, we talk about things, we talk about politics and music and things like that. Oh, some boring shit. Oh yeah, you would think that's boring, huh? So then he basically says, you know what? I want you. I want to be with you. And then he goes into explicit details about the sex stuff that I don't want to talk about because I don't want to be demonetized. But in any case, he's like, and he says something that I'm like, oh, I know this man didn't do it. You know what, Fatima? I'm going to leave. And I'm going to leave the door unlocked for you tonight, because I know you're going to come over. And I'm like, did he just pull a Karen? And somebody on Twitter said, well, Jeremy, technically speaking, Karen pulled a Zach, because since Zatima is before Sistas in the timeline, yes, you're right. But in terms of the air date schedule, yeah, you're going to go, wait a minute, Karen did the same crap. But not to spoil, well, we're talking about the ending. Based on the ending, at least in Zach's case, the person who he left the door unlocked for was the person who came over, as opposed to what happened in Karen's situation. So I thought that was pretty funny. But from there, he gets up, he goes back to the bar area, and he's talking with Nate. Looks like Nate was there too. And he just tells Nate that he said what he needed to say to Fatima. Then Tony pops up, and basically Zach checks Nate for, calling Fatima out of her name. Like, look, call the B word again, we going to the parking lot. Because, like, man, yo, if she was really feeling you the way you think she was, she wouldn't be over there doing that in front of your face right there with this dude. So from there, he confronts Nate and Belinda about the dating profile situation. But then Nate lets it slip up that, you know, she was the one that showed him the dating profile. And then they pretty much put two and two together like an episode of Scooby-Doo. You're the one who did this. And Belinda denies it. And it's like, no. Yeah, she was the one that put together the dating profile to show Nate, who would then show Zach, causing friction in their relationship. Then Angela pops up. And then Angela like, whoa, Zach, what are you doing here? Fatima, look, I don't want Fatima thinking that I was the one that told you to come here or anything like that. It's like, no. Well, did you know your girl Belinda created some dating profile that's fake? Well, she wouldn't do that. And it's like, okay. So then the guys, you know, start to move to another part of the club. And Angela confronts Belinda about it. I'm actually glad because, you know, Angela had a bit of a backbone here. You know, she confronted Belinda, who constantly denied it, but Angela wasn't buying it. And then from there, you know, Fatima tells Paul, yeah, you know, I think it's time. I think, you know, I'm ready for us to leave. And Zach actually walks past the table with his voice and like, oh, okay, so what y'all doing now? And then Zach gets up on stage and I'm like, wait a minute. He ain't doing what I think he's about to do. And he's like, hey, everybody, let me tell you all a story. So he pretty much goes into detail about the situation he's in, how he lost the woman that he really loves. And, you know, he went back to an old chick. And then the crowd started booing. I felt like, damn, this is an episode of Maury. You know, when it's like the girl is on stage, you know, the DNA test results episode where the girl's on stage first, basically, you know, telling her story and saying how, hey, I got this 8-month-old baby and, you know, Tyler doesn't want to claim him because he says that's not his child. And basically in the midst of telling the story, we see video footage of Tyler in some random ass alley, you know, standing on the sidewalk, leaning up against a graffiti wall, and people just jeering at him. And then the moment he comes out on stage, he gets booed instantly. And it's like, bro, you don't even know his story yet. So Nate and Tony in the crowd, like, hey, stop booing and let him speak. So from there, he points out Fatima, who's just like in the front row, by the way. And it's like, why are you dragging me into this, Zach? And I'm thinking like, well, you know what? For as much trash as I talked about Fatima pointing out Zach 3 times during her song last week, at least she never directly pointed him out by name or said like, that guy right there, he's the one that screwed me over. Well, no, he literally talks about how, you know, I tried to have sex with somebody else, but I couldn't do it. Then Connie pops up out of nowhere, which I guess maybe, you know, this was part of Zach's plan. So, you know, in episode 12/13, it was to get his family and Fatima to come to Dr. Reed's office. And in this situation, he had Connie and his boys come with him to the club to make his stand, you know, with Fatima. So, damn, Zach. Okay, I see him working behind the scenes here. But in any case, Connie, her I guess you could say contribution to the cause is what had me rolling. You know what? Yeah, that's right. He was with me, but he couldn't get it up because, you know, the thing between my legs, it was ready. Yeah, I was ready to get my cheeks clapped, but no, he was thinking about this other chick. And it's like, Connie, stop. So then Belinda blurts out, boy, this is open mic night. If you ain't going to sing on stage, then get off. So then he starts singing. Nights are lonely, days are so sad. I miss you, and nobody knows it but me. When he was singing and breaking down, all I could think about, and you know, it's funny, based on his outfit, I thought about Martin. When he was doing his song, all I could think about, and if I'm not mistaken, the 2010 BET Awards, when Chris Brown did his Michael Jackson tribute, and when he got to singing Man in the Mirror, and he started breaking down crying, that's exactly what was going through my mind when I was listening to Zach do his song. And then you got the backup chorus, you know, not so lonely days. Everybody was like, you know, at first they were like, okay, what's going on here? But then they started clapping and they got into it. You know, because at first, you know, Zach took a moment where he kind of leaned back from the mic. And I'm like, oh, he pulling a James Brown. You know, he kind of sweating. Hey, hit me. Oh, Fatima. No, what he should have been singing is, she's out of my life. She's out of my life. Damn indecision. Cursed Paul. Bob the fucking Builder is right there, y'all. And he stole my girl and ruined my world. So I've learned love's not possession. So I learned I can't wait. So I've learned. I'm sorry. I need a tissue. Tony, give me a tissue. Nate, sit your ass down. You embarrassing me. Connie, I don't want your trifling ass no more. Fatima, take me back, girl. And then he walks off stage. But in any case, from there, the episode is pretty much, wrapping up. We got Fatima kind of like processing what's going on. Zach is getting a standing O when he walks off stage. And we kind of flip over to a scene where I believe we see, a pair of shoes or heels, I think, Fatima's shoes and whatnot. I'm like, wait a minute, did she go over there? But no, we see her on the couch with Paul, and while he's kissing all over her, she's like non-reactive. Basically me, if I open up a sandwich and see pickles on it, I ain't touching that shit. Throwing it away. But then, next thing you know, bang, 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 over at Zach's place. And I'm like, Roxy must have wanted it bad, because it's the first time we've seen these two having sex in Zatima since the beginning of episode 1 of season 2 in the shower. So, what does this mean? First of all, I ain't gonna hold you. I thought this was like a dream sequence or something like that. Like, Fatima didn't really go over there, but it was Zach maybe kind of passed out when he got home because he was tired. And he thought in his mind, he had a dream that Fatima was there having sex with him, in the same effect of, oh, Karen had a daydream about shooting Fatima at the end of the mid-season finale. Well, I don't know. I could be wrong, but I'm going to, go out on a limb here and say this does really happen. But just because they knocking boots, even though they aren't wearing shoes in the bed, even though they're having sex, that doesn't mean they're back together. Because I still think, based off the trailer and the promotional photos, Fatima's still wary of getting back together. It's just that, kind of like Karen and Zach in the office of the salon, it was a moment of vulnerability. And ladies, if a man gets on stage and not only sings for you, but is breaking down crying, maybe you ought to give him a chance. I don't know. And the way I sing, dang it, I should have, that could have been me up there, singing to Belinda. Or Deja. But now Deja will want money. Yeah. And nobody knows but me. All right, what did y'all think of the episode? That was episode 14. 3 weeks of episodes left. I know we are almost at the halfway point, but these episodes, man, drop them all. I'm ready to see what happens next. Like and subscribe. Man, I'm a mess, man. I'm a mess. Like and subscribe, and I'll catch you all in the next video.